am very humbled by the invitation, and I thank you for having me on Corporate Corner.
Okay, well, let's jump in today's Q&A interview session where we're going to dig up, find out some stuff about you, and
Thank you.
let's talk about your journey, Michelle.
I think what happens, it's like you see it in your mind before you live it in reality. So I think everything that you're living right now is more or less an example of what would have been a snapshot in your mind at some point in time. So very much so. As Steve Jobs says, it's only in looking back that you're able to connect the dots. I'm a woman who wears many hats. I am a broadcaster, an author, a poet, motivational speaker, marketer, and I feel like everything goes hand in hand with each other. So my motto is putting passion into action. Do what you love and everything else will follow and flow. Whatever you're doing, you should have been willing to do it for free before you actually started to earn from it. And I think that's kind of a rule of thumb with how you find out if what you're doing is serving your purpose. And I think that's what it's about. Always how you can give back to the world. My love, I have a genuine love for people, for communicating. And I think each one of those roles, it serves that in some way because it's a different form of communication.
How
In
did you
each of
get
those
into
roles.
communication? How did you get into some of those roles? Tell us a little bit, describe that journey so that we can appreciate some of the sacrifices that you've made and what it
Yes.
took to get you there.
Although I was always very much called or drawn to everything that I'm doing currently, I feel as though it was always looking for me. It was always there. I was explaining just a few moments ago when persons were asking me, how did you get into broadcasting? I started from as young as 6 months by saying I started talking at 6 months. And my mom would always jokingly say to everyone, I wish she was a crying baby, but instead she was a talkative one. She wouldn't keep us up with crying, but instead with questions. Mommy, why this? Daddy, why that? How this? What's that? It was not simple talk. I was doing a lot more at 6 months than I should have been doing. And thankful for that. And I could recall when I was gifted a microphone, those echo microphones. And I
Oh,
still get so bubbly inside with the tool called a microphone. But at 2 years old, almost as though you would be using the fan, when you would be talking into the fan and you hear the voice that's coming back at you. At two
ah,
and three, when I had my echo microphone, I would follow everyone around the house and I would be giving a report. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Grandpa, here is Granny. Granny is cooking. Mommy has just entered. And I
wow.
had mentors are so important. And I had mentors in every field that I'm in. Um, in terms of radio, I had mentors such as Tony Lee and Ian Digos Elego being my uncle and Tony Lee being a very good family friend. And then Adrian
Oh,
Dunmore, who's also a very good family friend. So when you saw them putting their passion into action, it was contagious. And the very first time I got the opportunity to hold a microphone myself, I was just about 9 or 8. And my grandmother was hosting shows. So I was always in the entertainment industry, coming from third
oh,
generation entertainment. And my grandmother hosting a show, she gave me an opportunity by saying, Michelle will introduce by saying, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. So at that age, I was so excited and the
wow.
butterflies were just inside of me. And I held the microphone and I wanted to ensure everyone heard me clearly. And I took my time and did it to the best of my ability by saying, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. And I knew all me was like,
Wow.
and I was asked to read in church. And I think reading in church, I would remember one of my first times doing that, seeing people. It was so different from what I did before, which was hosting school concert. And my teachers would put me behind the curtain. And that found me, it's not that I was trying to. I did a project for a teacher on a cassette, and she heard my voice, Mrs. Gomez, and she was like, Michelle, is that you? I was like, yes, miss. She said, you've got a beautiful voice. And that's how she put me to host all of the shows and so forth.
Wow.
Right? Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
with that, other schools would eventually invite me at times to host or co-host with their students. And that's how I got into the hosting side of it. And eventually there was a star search. I sent my demo. I got the job. Thankfully, I was one of 3 finalists who got that job. And that's how I started in radio and got into the field of broadcasting. And while doing broadcasting, especially, again, being in the world of business and having a grandfather who used to lecture on sales and public speaking, it was always my thing, because growing up, he would always give me stories of what he did to build his business and the different ideas that he would come up with, and explain that always try to do something that no one else was doing at the time, or put your own personal touch onto it. So I was always very excited about businesses, and I did not just want to learn about the broadcast industry in terms of being the person behind the mic. I wanted to know about everything that was going on the other side of it, because I had so much passion for it. So I wanted to know about writing news. I got the opportunity to do that. I wanted to know about selling, and I was given the opportunity to do that. I wanted to learn about radio production, and I did that. I actually have certification in production, sound engineering rather. And it was from doing sales and having a sincere interest about the clients I served and wanting to help their business. The way I saw it, even if you weren't purchasing spots for on air from me, I was more concerned about the relationship as opposed to the dollar. And it was from that relationships formed, and I started to give them ideas about marketing. And one of my clients then hired me to do their marketing. And I've been in the field of marketing now for over a decade, well over a decade. So that is how everything developed. And writing I was doing since I was a child. And I've just been always a very firm advocate for doing what you love, and everything else will follow.
Wow. Wow. So you're doing marketing. You've written a book, broadcasting.
I've written Soulspection, which is a collection of poetry, and I've recently produced 2 children's books as well. One is called Magic Words with Max, and the other is titled Now I'm 2. And there's several other books that have already been completed and yet to be published.
Congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm in the midst of celebrity. So let's talk a little bit about your contribution.
Yes, that is an interesting question. I think first things first, supplying jobs, especially in this time period when you have a strong business that is able to offer opportunities for employment to many others. And I think being trendsetters as well, coming up with certain things that possibly others within a particular industry have not been doing. And it causes them to think, it causes them, you see a reaction as well in terms of different changes, in terms of prices, or maybe new products being introduced based on what you may have introduced. I think those are some very valuable contributions that would have been made. And I think in terms of the writing side of things, and this is for anyone, because you don't have to be tied to an organization to be living your purpose and to be serving others. Your purpose is how you serve others, right? And interestingly, as an author, I was surprised how many other books came through me writing my book. Because sometimes somebody needs your journey, and that is what may be an asset for them to be on their journey. The books that came from me writing my book, because you have some people thinking, hey, well, she did it, I can do it too. Or some having the courage to even ask you, well, how did you do it? Give me a blueprint. How did you do it? How can I do it? How can I go about doing this? I think all of those are very valuable contributions. And I think especially with the media side of things, it is amazing. As you know, you must inform, educate, and entertain. And I think that is very valuable, especially at this time period. We need it more than ever, having quality representation in terms of media.
I could not have agreed more. Okay, Michelle, this is going great. So about your outlook, what significant changes have you observed over the past couple of years, and what's your outlook for the next couple of months?
There is a beautiful phrase that Les Brown says, in which he says, things have changed from brick and mortar to click and order. And that says to me that we are in the period of opportunity. Gone are the days in which you were confined by walls, but now you can go anywhere you want to just from the click of your finger. So there's no limitation to what you can do. And I think many times we've been so concerned about just doing things perfectly, but just do. Procrastination is the killer of time. And we need to just do. Don't wait for that perfect moment, because a perfect moment would never come. There is perfection and imperfection. Just do, and you learn as you go along. Start. The most important thing is that you start. And in some instances, you're going to start messy, but just do it anyway. And you'll get better every time you do it, because every expert started off as a novice, but that should not derail you from getting started. So for the next 12 months, some of the plans that I have in place would be to put other books out. I also want to give back in more meaningful ways. What I've done last year when the pandemic started, similar to what's taking place, how you have that desire within you to feed others. I did something called Brand You, in which I was giving persons the opportunity to hear different conversations with different guests that I would have had, conversations that will aid different aspects of their lives and help them to recognize that they too are a brand. And I found that that helps the business community, because if you have someone who is just an employee, it's different. If you have someone who sees themselves as a brand, they serve you better. Wow. Because they're very concerned about their personal brand. And they're very concerned about maintaining their integrity, their voice, and their ethics. Because when you have persons who are employees and just see themselves as collecting a paycheck, that's all they're concerned about. They're not really fulfilling the true potential of your organization, because they will be silent. They will be mice when what you need would be some lions.
Ah, that's good. That's good. That's good. All right. So we're on to your hurdles. We want to hear about your resilience.
Okay, great. So let me see this question. What was one
of your most challenging experiences, and how were you able to manage or overcome?
You're saying challenging experiences and how I would have been able to overcome. I think there was one particular moment I can really recall, because doing different things, it takes quite a lot out of you. Wearing as many hats as I do, it could be a challenge at times. But I think one thing it has taught me would be the importance of focusing, the importance of being able to compartmentalize by saying, okay, if I am on radio, this is what I'm focused on at this point in time. If I am doing this for this particular hour, this is where all of my attention is. Being fully dedicated and committed to whatever you're doing at that particular time frame, having laser focus. So much so that if I am engulfed in something and someone is calling me, I may not hear you, because I am focused really in that zone at that moment in time. It became a challenge just about, I would say, a decade ago. A decade ago, I remember this particular moment vividly, because it was a moment when I felt like, whoo, this is a lot. I am not certain if I can do this. And thankfully, exactly when I had that feeling and that thought, my eyes were then caught on something that someone forgot in the studio. And it was, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That I have always heard that phrase, but it was like that phrase, it hit differently that time. That phrase was for me at that very moment. And to this day, anytime I feel like I am thinking or I feel like things are too overwhelmed, there's certain phrases and certain things I say to myself. Self-talk is so important. But that particular moment, I remember vividly, because that after that aha, that explosive light bulb moment, knowing that, wait, it didn't say I can do some things, most things, a little bit of things, one thing. It said I can do all things.
Wow.
And that powers me up. That adds to me. And some of the other things in terms of the self-talk that I would be having, the self-talk would be understanding who you are and whose you are. Different phrases in my writing that I've come up with in my moments of introspection and retrospection that I put together and called Soulspection. It would be things like, I will not allow anybody to beat me at me. Setting my intentions into the day. Also ensuring that when it comes to, especially in corporate life, you're not always going to agree with everyone that you come into contact with, but it's understanding that you must respect persons' opinions, and knowing who you are and whose you are, you ensure that you are a person of integrity and ethics, and you treat everyone like the royalty they are, understanding that you too are royalty. So one of the other things that I would say is, say to this day, it shall be great, and that it shall be. And the different practices that I put into place in terms of waking up in the morning, even before I get out of bed, I say, thank you for this day. I say my prayers. And even after getting ready to head out the door, before I even leave, I sit, have that quiet moment and meditate and write. I write my intention down. So no matter what is happening around, I can't control what's taking place around me, but within me, that is where it is. That is where you find your peace. That is where you find your love. That is where you find your joy. And as within, so too without. And regardless of what is taking place, regardless of what is coming at you, you don't speak of the situation, but to the situation. And there's a quote that I love from Sir Thomas More that has stayed with me always. And it is, I prefer to die like a lion than to live like a mouse. It's living your truth and being authentic, regardless of what. So I think when you are true to yourself and you're doing what you love and you're putting passion into action, you can be real with yourself and others, so much so that you say, I'm not going to be a slave to a dollar. What I will be is true to me, and wear that crown of truth, be who you are, regardless. Those are things that are important and vital for me.
Wow. I feel like I'm in motivation corner. I can listen to you all day, Michelle. All right.
Thank you.
So advice. So if you were to just select one chunk of advice, friendly advice a person's getting into business or leadership, what would that be, Michelle?
Start now and start with what you have. Amazingly, there was something that really hit me. Again. Bam! Hits again. And it was just before the pandemic started, or I can't remember if it was just before it started or as it started. And that's when I came up with Brand You, because I wanted to do different seminars and workshops and have persons just come and let it be iron sharpening iron. Let's grow together. Let me share what I have learned and you share what you have learned. Let's see how we can increase. And then the pandemic hit. And when I was thinking of the story of Moses and I was going through my word again, something that really was potent for me was the fact that it was written, God asked Moses, what's that you have there? what's in your hand? And he said, a staff. A staff? Okay, we'll use that. So whatever you have in your hand now, use it, because that is what you need to move from
Wow.
Egypt to the promised land.
Wow.
Whatever you have, start with it now. And it was only then I realized, when I was starting to bake, and before I had a bakery, I don't have the bakery at this point in time, but when I started, I was able to bake my way into owning a bakery with industrial equipment. And it's something I did on my own. And I remember when I just started, I didn't have a rolling pin to roll out pastries. And I thought, I have a bottle. I'm going to sanitize this bottle, and I use that to roll out the pastries. So what is your story going to be? What is going to be your staff? What is going to be your glass bottle rolling pin? Whatever tool you have in hand now, use it. That is all you need to get to where you need to be. Just start.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love it. So we are going to have some fun now, Michelle. Are you ready?
Oh, fun, fun, fun. Yeah. So excited.
No, there's a usual thing that keeps happening in corporate corner. When we
Yes.
get into your favorite things, people sing for us.
These are a few of my favorite things. Is it food or song or a book?
I
People
love
or
it.
a place.
I love it. There we go. So you tell us, what are a few of your favorite things? You can choose as many from the list as you want,
Right.
or you can extend it.
This is a lot.
Let's
Oh
start
boy.
with food.
I'm such a lover. I'm such a lover. I live in the now so well. I would say, in terms of food, what anything with cheese and anything with chocolate. Cheese, chocolate, win-win.
All right. Song.
Anything from Bob Marley. Anything from Bob Marley. There was, I will share with you a song that I think my neighbors probably don't want to hear because I ruined it for them. But it would be Bob Marley's Is This Love? Is This Love?
Gotcha.
And yes, there's another song that I really appreciate. I don't remember the name of it, but Dead Prez, in terms of rap. But the reason I like it is because it's a reminder that you don't need to take your clothes off to be intimate. So instead, have conversation with someone before you even think of being intimate on that level with someone. And as a teenager, I like that. I was like, yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about book?
Book. Woo.
Beside
Bible.
yours, of course.
Bible.
I'm with you there. People.
My children, my mommy, and my husband.
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home. That is where it is.
Gotcha. Place to visit.
I am a traveler. I love to travel. But because I just said my favorite people are those I share my life with, it would have to be Disney, because I think that is such a family-oriented place, and it truly is the happiest place on earth. The magic of Disney. And with that, one thing that blew me away in the hotel room, and I find it so potent, it is a quote from Walt Disney in which he says, "To think this all started with a mouse." And that just ties back into what we spoke about with your staff, your glass bottle rolling pin. What is it for you?
Wow. That's amazing, Michelle. That's amazing. All right. Some more fun. Your clumsiest moment.
Too many to mention. You want moment or moments?
We have time.
Oh boy. I was a teenager. Baggy pants would have been in. You know, when every young girl wanted to dress like a Leah and you're wearing those big jerseys and big pants because it's either a Leah or TLC and, you know. And West Mall just redid the mall at that point in time. So I was walking with my cousin and I tripped on the pants and fell down the stairs. And before this dear cousin of mine helped me up, he was just laughing uncontrollably and he nearly fell because he was laughing. And every time he put his hand out to help me up, he kept laughing. So every time I tried to get up, he's laughing and his laughter was contagious and I am on the floor laughing too.
Oh my gosh.
And I think this one is important because I think we all need to get over our fears and have the courage to go on regardless. And I need to tell you about reading in church. Did I tell you about that?
Yes.
Reading in church. And I remember within, you know, my first stint at reading in church, when I was just getting into the groove, thank God it was a weekday mass, seeing persons in front of me, I started to get really nervous. So I'm like, prophecy, prophecy. And I remember one elderly lady in front with her fan and she's rocking back and forth and she's like, prophesy!
Oh gosh, that didn't help
I
at
could go
all.
on if you want more, let me know. You just let me know.
Oh my gosh, we have a big corner, so we'll come together sometime and just talk about some clumsy moments and how we were able to overcome those challenges.
We might need a full hour for just that.
I can imagine. Okay, so let's go on the frown side. Pet peeves.
Pet peeves. People who disrespect others. My biggest peeve, I don't like when persons don't recognize every single person within an organization. That's a big no-no for me. I think regardless of what someone's position is, you must always be firmly grounded in kindness and treat everyone well. Lying, that's another big peeve. Be truthful. Regardless of what you think the cost will be, I think it will cost you more if you lose your soul and your depth. Lying is a thing for me. Another peeve, meetings starting way too late. I think early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable.
Got you. So I want to talk about your playtime.
Hobbies. I live in my hobbies.
That is amazing.
My hobbies have started to do me well. Writing.
Wow.
You know, baking. I love children as well. I love spending time with children. I think children are amazing. You know, we say children make believe, but I think it's believe make, because you have to believe to make things into reality, and we can learn so much from them. So let playtime really be playtime. Spend time with children. I think that will reconnect you to where you need to be.
I could not have agreed more. All right. So we're winding down to another lovely time with another lovely person in this corner. I'd like you to make a wish. Dreams. Make a wish for us. That one wish.
I'm not supposed to say it. Otherwise it wouldn't come true. You didn't hear about that?
Okay, let's call it a prayer. A desire.
My desire is when I connect with another person, another being, that they leave my presence being reminded of how amazing they are and the power that they have within them. And they feel uplifted enough and motivated enough to be their true, authentic selves and add to this world by sharing their passion and their purpose.
On behalf of the Key Business community, thank you very much. And as we say it, see you around the corner. Thank you very much, Michelle.
I love it. Thank you. It has truly been an honor. This has been very humbling. Thank you. I appreciate this.